Hi, pod people. This is Joe.
And I'm Kel, and this is Cosmic Connections 101. Today, we are going to be talking about grounding. And I know that
Grounding.
we touched on it in one of our other episodes, but I wanted to just have a dedicated episode to grounding because the way that you ground, Joe, is different to how I do. So I just wanted to, go into how both of us ground ourselves and just show how it's different for everybody.
Well, I want to hear it from you first because I don't think we've talked really about how you do it now. You do
Yeah.
otherworldly things.
Yeah. Okay. So because I am not as attached to Mother Earth as you are, I would always find it difficult to feel grounded and connected to the earth. Like when you think of grounding, a lot of people, especially during meditation, they're told to imagine like, roots from the bottom of your feet going into the earth and just planting into the ground like that. Like that never really resonated for me. And I would
Hmm.
do it in meditation when I was told to, but it's still like it didn't click for me. Not until in the past 2 years that I've started working with my spiritual mentor, when I really do have the ability now to connect into Mother Earth and into her energy. So the way that I learned the technique that's right for me is because one day during what we called a sound meditation, it was like it's kind of like
Sound journey.
sound journey where Annalie, my spiritual mentor, would, it's like a hypnotic state, walk you through a guided meditation. And so I would verbalize everything that I was seeing and, explain to her in, great detail, all the stuff that I was experiencing in meditation. And so what had happened to me on this one, and because like when these meditations are set up, it's kind of like you don't know where you're going to go. It's not like, okay, this is what we're trying for today. It's just wherever your higher self wants to take you, what you're ready for. So this one night, I want to say like granted access, because it is something that you can't just journey into by just willing it. I was invited to journey into the inner earth. And I know that it seems a bit crazy, right, to think that there is a whole other existence in the inner earth. Like it's actually a thriving other world down there. It's not just the molten rock and lava and stuff like that. It's actually hollow, and there's like bioluminescent life down there, and like there's water, like rivers and oceans and crystals, and I know that sounds crazy to people, but I was
Not to me.
invited. Yeah, I was invited to journey into there on this sound journey. And when I was down there, it was the first time where I had really deeply connected to Mother Earth. And so after I won't go into like everything that I saw down there because like I said, it does feel like you have to be invited to be able to experience this. But after that experience, that is how, I found it possible for me to be connected into that energy. So now when I am grounding myself, I imagine not just like roots going into the soil and like that kind of stuff. I imagine my energy going down into this space in the inner earth that I was privileged enough to go to in meditation. And that is where I connect to and pull my energy up from. And that really makes me feel just solid and safe and secure when I am going into deep meditation. So I always connect to like the sky.
In a
That
in a
is
world.
how I connect when I ground. So for me, grounding isn't surface grounding, it is into the inner earth and into this energy that, yeah, it's such a beautiful place down there. And for me, that is just how I really resonate with Mother Earth. So it's very different to how you do, right? It's not like kind of stuff.
Well, it is, but it isn't. So mine's more of a, I always just say humming of the earth. So I always feel like it's from the core of the earth, which is what you're saying is the inner earth. But mine, I don't know, it's like a vibration.
Mm-hmm.
So you get visual stuff, I get feelings. I mean, that's exactly how I usually get stuff anyway. Like I don't usually see things, but I feel them. So for mine, I don't even have to have an actual practice anymore. I can just be laying in bed and go, oh damn, I really need to reconnect and ground to Mother Earth. So the best way to do it is to physically go down the river by nature. I said, but if I need to do like a top up, I can just do it from my bedroom. I don't go into a meditation or anything. I just literally just close my eyes, and then I just feel like my body is vibrating at the same frequency as the earth.
So do you
I don't know how to
slow down your breathing? Like what happens?
Yeah, I kind of, so I do.
I feel like the earth is more of a dense and it not dense in a bad way, but just, you know, like just very
heavy,
neutral and calm, and yeah, like a lower kind of frequency.
Yeah,
so you
for
have
me,
to like put your energy in that same
into your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why I have to close my eyes, because otherwise I get distracted. And usually for me, I just do like box breathing. So like breathe in for 4, hold for a couple of like counts, then breathe again, like in, out for 4, hold. Like I just, like it's just sort of just calms my nervous system.
Yeah.
Because it's always like, you know, trying to make sure I self-regulate my parasympathetic system. And then I just visualize, I don't know, like I think it's like it feels like me laying on the earth, but it's also, once I'm laying there, it's like I get all these vibrations and frequencies, and like it's humming and pulling me down into it, because I usually feel like I'm up in the air all the time.
Yeah.
So like that's when I want to do like a top up. But if I'm going to just go out specifically and do a grounding, it has to involve trees and animals and the rivers. And then it's the frequency of all those things together that, I don't know, like a tree, like the tree root system and how it just keeps going. They're like rivers and valleys under the earth. That I feel like I'm part of the tree root system, I think is the best way to explain it. And I just feel like a humming and a vibration of oneness with everything that's on here.
But you don't see anything in your mind's eye. It's all just off of feeling.
And frequency. Like, it's like a vibration. It's hard to explain, eh? Like when you really think about it.
It is hard to explain.
I'm like, okay, I sound like a fruitcake.
I just wanted to sort of, do this podcast to point out the differences, because for you, it is, like you're matching the energy of Mother Earth. And really, when you step into nature in that way, it's pulling you right into your body and pulling you into the present time. So when we're just existing in our everyday life, often we are out of sync with time. We are either in the past thinking about a memory, or in the future predicting something that's going to happen. And I don't want to get too heavy into how that impacts us in the quantum and creating new timelines for ourselves. But when you are in sync with nature like that, it prevents that from happening. It prevents you from being out of sync with your body. And really, it's such a gift that you have to be able to do that, because you're pulling yourself back into your physical body and in alignment. Because when you are fully in your body like that, that ideally is how we should all be living every single moment of every single day. So the fact that you're able to just like lay in bed and be like, all right, I'm gonna, do this. Like that is such a great thing that you can do, because not many people can. And I know for myself personally, I can really only tap into that when I am in nature. So for me, it's more of an effort. Like if I was to lay in bed and try and do that, I don't think I could, to be honest. Like I wouldn't be able to tune into the vibration frequency of the earth, because I need to be around nature for that. I can't just, even though I'm surrounded, like, you know, I've got trees or like plants in here and everything like that. I can't just be near the plant and feel its energy and then drop my frequency to get messages from it. That's hard for me.
Right. Yeah, see, I can not even, like, if I look out at some of the trees and stuff, I see their aura, like I see their energy. And I guess I've never really thought about it before. It's just always been easy. When I see mountains, stone, like rocks, I can always see its energy, maybe like, because I always feel like I'm one with that energy. And that's why when we've talked about like sky people and everything, like I know that's where my DNA is connected to, but I'm very earth. And I think that's why it's easier for me to drop into that. But when I can feel I'm dissociating, like from my body and my mind's taking over, for me, it's like when you're talking about when you can drop off and astral travel or go into your remembering, like I can do it quickly to ground myself with the earth frequency. And I don't know how I know how to do it. I just can.
Yeah. And that's what you kind of learn along the way, and your spiritual path is like, you don't know why you know how to do something, but you do it. And and I can exactly. And I can walk like on different parts of the land and kind of hear it. Like it talks to me, like I can feel like I can get a good read of energy, or if there's been something not so great that happened, or I get a smell, like I've like sensed fire there before and like weird things happening. That's really cool, you know. And it would be interesting if you got a hit like that and then you went back and did some research and actually could confirm.
Actually, that reminds me. So when I moved down here to Wagga, I would walk along the banks of the Murrumbidgee, and so this is just like a perfect example, right? So to me, I'm already, as soon as I'm in there, like it starts to morph and I feel like I'm one with it. Even though I'm not from Wiradjuri country, I was called to come here, so I answered that call. And when I'm walking along the river, I'm just like, I can see where people used to live and fish and hunt the area, even though like there's buildings and stuff around, like I can see it. And then I remember just sitting at one part and I was same thing. I was like looking across and I'm like, oh, like I can just tell like a lot of blackfellas used to camp down here and they'd fish, and it was like a really joyful, I don't know, it was just a really community. Yeah, it just felt really like impressive and strong. And I don't know heaps about the area, right? And so I've met different people, but everyone's got different info and knowledge. But for some reason I was looking up some land care stuff, right, about the trees and stuff down here. And then I just come across this uni article and they were talking about, it was old text written about when the what do they call it? When they started not colonizing, what's the word, Kel? When they started, well, that's what it was, but like, when they started having like building up the Riverina and developing, that's the word, developing the area. And obviously Aboriginal people, it's like, well, you have to move, like we have to push you out because you don't. We need to make a
profit here.
Yeah, that's right. And so there's this certain bridge downtown, which is where I was sitting, and then I'm reading in this document where they're talking about that particular bridge and that area where a lot of Aboriginal people move themselves to. And then I was just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Right. And then it's just like, oh wow, like maybe I'm not imagining things, because I still, no matter how many things will happen, I will still go, maybe it's a guess.
Yeah.
Like maybe I'm not, like, and I don't know why I keep doing that, but like I felt it and I seen it and I could feel the vibration of it. Like I was there, like I could see it in my mind's eye. And then when you get like written evidence, it just like is mind blowing. But then I'm like, well, the evidence is I've already seen it and witnessed
Yeah.
it and felt it.
Because
So that should be enough.
They want to
to
show,
see it.
yeah, show that to you.
Yeah. And so that's why it was just extra confirmation of when I did move down here. I'm like, yes, this is the best place for me to be, because I know the reason I moved here was for women's healing. And I didn't know what that meant, but I know I'm definitely in it. And the more I'm open, like the more the land talks to me.
Yeah.
And so for me, just living in this place is grounding.
Yeah. See, for me, because I don't have as strong of a connection to like the rocks and the mountains, like how you were talking about, I feel like that's why I can connect into the inner earth to ground myself, because that is where there's crystals and, you know, that side of my connection to earth, because for me, that is earth. And even though it's a different, it's like obviously, you know, quartz and everything like that is still from the earth and everything like that. But that is the way that in my heart space, it makes sense to connect to the inner earth, because it's just, it's the same but different, like we always talk about. But for me, just having that correlation of familiarity. So crystals to me is comfort zone kind of thing. So when I was in the inner earth and I could see what is down there, that made sense to me. So that is how I can connect, because, you know, if I'm just walking around on the earth, you know, like how you do, just all regular, I can't see the visual representation of quartz around. You know, I'm not lucky enough to be like a gem hunter and go like, you know, fossicking for gems and stuff like that. That would be sick. I would love to do that one day. We should have a trip where we can do that.
100%.
But, you know, for me, like the thing that connects me to the earth isn't visual like it is for you when you're just walking around every single day. So I definitely, if I'm wanting to really ground myself, I do need to be in meditation, because like my mind needs to go back to that place that I know exists, where I'm allowed to go to in the inner earth and see the stuff that I saw down there, to pull me into that energy, because it's just so, it's a different frequency to what you get to experience. But you're so lucky in that, you know, just existing outside or anywhere, like, you know, you can tap into that frequency. For me, it's definitely more of like a procedure,
a journey.
It takes more time and effort for me to, and it has to be like, okay, I'm going to ground, you know. Like I have to set my space up. I have to get, you know, my music going or something. I have to do something. I can't just be like zoned out and then I'm in that energy.
Like I think it's very interesting, like even when you talk about the crystals, because obviously they are its own energy frequency, but that's like the sparkly, pretty versions of my very earthy version. And just to, you know, just tap into that a little bit more, like when I went to Uluru for my women's healing, remember I told you about under Uluru, and like it is just crystals and gems, and it's like an energy vortex place, the heart of this nation. I said, so to me, they showed me that when I was there, and I could see it and feel it there, because it does go down to where you go. You know what I mean? But I've seen it in a different way. Like I never ventured like what you do. It would be interesting to, maybe you should do one of those meditations, Kel.
Well, I see, because it really felt like an invitation. Like you're not allowed to go there unless
invited,
and you can't access that unless you're invited. And I don't know if that is actually a true thing for everybody, or like, you know, like I don't know, but that is really just the impression that I got. Like you can't just say, oh, I'm gonna meditate and go into the inner earth. Like it's not allowed. You can't.
Because people will only get to the depths that they're able to in their own meditation journey anyway. So, you know, when you go through a guided one, everyone will get something very different. Because it's only where they're able to access,
and it's
at a certain point.
It's a permission thing, because, you know, when I was down in that space, I wasn't there alone. I was there with somebody, and they kind of like a guide for me and showing me, okay, when you used to live down here, you know, this is where you were from, and this area is, you know, like, it was, they talked, and I still remember it vividly in my mind's eye. Like, you know, I'm glad that I have the ability when I go into meditation that I can see things. Like I see things as clearly as I'm seeing you right now.
Yeah.
You know, so when I am in these spaces, it is like I am reliving that experience. And so
So
when,
cool.
yeah, when I'm meditating in that space, it's like you sitting at the river, physically seeing the river and the rocks and the trees. That's how it is for me in meditation.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
How
So
cool.
yeah, so when I ground myself with the crystals down in the inner earth, it is really like a real experience for me. Like,
Yeah, like you're walking around, chilling down
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, man.
Yeah, and
Like,
it's a funny thing, you know, because when you're first starting on your spiritual journey, like you really wish that you could do that sort of stuff and open your third eye and all of that. And it's like, you know, everybody can definitely get to that place. It's like for me, it just happened over time. And then as you do it more, then it becomes more vivid and, you know, then you know that it's not just like in your head and that it's just, you know, your imagination. So it takes
yeah.
time to get to that point. But, you know, I'm so grateful that I can do that because it does help me now to have a different perspective that I can grab onto when it comes to grounding. Because it's so important for us to be grounded in this reality. You know, as humans, we need to feel that connection to Mother Earth because it's just that stabilizing energy, you know, like you said, where it's like it does pull you into your body. And when you are in this present time, everything is peaceful, you know. So it's important for us to be able to tap into that and to ground ourselves. I mean, I'm sure that we don't do it as often as we should, but you know, to make sure that you have some type of a grounding ceremony or ritual, because it does really make a difference in your everyday life.
Yeah, I just call like little top ups and stuff. Like I think we've mentioned previous, like I can see behind you some of your sprays and stuff. And obviously you've got aromatherapy, different
Yeah.
stuff mum's made. Like we're pretty lucky. We've always had like essential oils and stuff around. And, you know, the answer to everything is tea tree oil and eucalyptus.
Yeah.
Heals everything, right?
I
Especially
actually
in our
just
country.
ran out of my eucalyptus oil today. I was topping up my oil
Oh.
burner and it's like right on the last dots.
Oh,
Need
how
to get
dare
back to
you.
the market and get some more.
Yeah. Well, it's like essential, like if in anything healing and on your journey. See, it's funny you talk about like the meditation. When everyone starts, like they do a version of meditation, and I'm no good. Like I try, I get super bored sometimes, and then I just
Your
go on different
meditation
tangents.
is out in nature. Like you don't
Yeah, I
have
have to
to
be out there.
be in an altered state to be
That's
in
right.
meditation.
I've got to be physically there. I keep trying to do meditations, and I like, especially past live ones, like they're kind of fun. But yeah, for me, it doesn't hit me the same way. Like I can go, like I said, I can walk down the river and I'll be standing at a tree. Well, I always have to go touch certain trees and have a chat. And I can see, I remember this one tree, the bark sort of started morphing into a snake.
So you just said he. Can
Oh,
you tell the gendered energy of a tree? Like there are males and females?
yep. Yes.
How do you know that?
I don't know. It just has a feeling of a male, like it'll tell me. And it's like even certain stones, there's a balance of,
See, for
it's like a
me,
frequency, I
I
guess.
would get the vibe of them all being masculine. That's my vibe. And to me, crystals are more feminine. Of course, there's male and female energies in everything. But if I was to tap into that tree energy, I don't know, like, yeah, him.
Well, because, you know, there's certain trees that are definitely female, they bleed. Some actually look like
Like
vaginas.
the sap.
And there's birthing trees.
Yeah.
Like, so there's specific ones for women and that feel female to me. Like I wouldn't be able to point them out. I can't even tell you what the names of certain trees are, but I can just feel them. And it's not even unique to this country, because when I've been in other countries, like the same stuff happens. And I didn't think that would like be a thing, but maybe we can do a different episode. I think I've wrote a note somewhere else to talk about travel.
Yeah.
And then connecting to different like spiritual like stuff that's happened to me elsewhere. Like I know you haven't traveled heaps, but there's always something
Yeah.
that's happening. Like your traveling is up in
Yeah.
the astral. You're traveling everywhere. I mean, we still haven't done our astral little trip to Peru yet, but we're still trying to get there.
Machu
That's on our
Picchu,
journey.
yeah. Well, we have to sync it up one day and like
We
try
have to
to travel there together.
we definitely do. Like, do you do so that's like when you want to go, like, you know, you've gone through stuff and you're like, shit, yep, I'm dissociating, I need to ground. Do you do little just regular stuff on the day, like not daily, but just like little quick things?
No.
You don't use your little sprays when you're walking out
I don't use
as a protection?
I have my grounding spray, but it is probably my least used out of them. I today before this you know, we started recording, I did my Archangel Michael spray. So that one's going to be the
always
one that
talk about
runs
that
out.
one.
Yeah, that runs out first.
Always.
And the white light spray. But yeah, I had to purchase the grounding one because of my inability to ground. And you know, I should use it more often because of that reason, you know, and because my connecting to the inner earth and grounding, it is more of a process where I, you know, I have to take time to do that. I can't do a quick little thing. So yeah, I probably should just spray, yeah, like more often. So I am grounded.
Do you take crystals?
I don't anymore.
You wear some.
I
like
used
sometimes,
to
right?
all the time. Like I really needed to, but I, you know, that to me is like it is grounding for sure, but it was more regulation for me, like regulating my own emotions and because I had, you know, a lot of anxiety and stuff like that. So I would carry them with me for that.
But
But
help you with an issue at that time.
yeah, like it had a
You'd
purpose.
see it separate. Yeah, right.
It wasn't for me grounding. It was just, yeah, regulating what I'm going through, like my emotions. And especially, you know, if I felt like I was going to be in a situation where I'd have to communicate and, you know, I would have a crystal with me to help open up my throat chakra. And yeah, especially around anxiety, you know, I just, even like recently, like a couple of weeks ago, I was going through a personal situation and I just needed to have my rose quartz with me. And I'll be transparent here and say, like, I slept with it like as a kid would with a teddy bear, you know, where I needed it in my space just because I needed to connect to that energy and like essentially ground me into my body because I was so anxious about this situation that it was pulling me out of time. And so, you know, I needed this crystal with me to just balance my energy and to pull me back in line. So, you know, I don't need to rely on them like how I used to. But yeah, I still use them often. And that, I guess, is a quick and, you know, easy way for me to ground myself. Like I hadn't really thought about it in that way until you just, said that. But yeah, that is a way that it does ground me. But yeah, like I said, I think of it more like regulating, but it is grounding.
Yeah, regulating your nervous system, which is helping you get into your body and be grounded.
Yeah.
So I guess it is in a way, just probably just haven't thought of it that way. Like I use my little eucalyptus spray when I know I need like I've got a big day coming or something, or I say a certain phrase when I'm about to walk out the door. Plus I do stuff in the car.
Yeah.
Like more protection, but it's like feels grounding because I'm making a ritual out of it type of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I hug a tree. I hug a tree, that's all.
And the fact that it's a eucalyptus spray, does that help with feeling of grounding because it's
the trees, like it just brings me into their bosom, like I said, it's like my tree when I you know first ever connected when I was little. Like trees are just it for me, a breathing resource. And if I like every single one of them has a different frequency and they have a different conversation, and I just go give them a hug and it feels like I'm giving them love and they're giving me balance and frequency like back down. into
I
my body.
actually there's this guy that I love on TikTok. He's this Hawaiian guy, and I'll send you.
Love him already.
I think I've showed you him before. I'm not sure, but he's like I think his name is like Lightseer, something like that. So he can tap
Love
into
that.
the energy of a lot of stuff. And he was recently in Sydney, which I didn't know about, because like I would have loved to
You would
go
have went.
reading. Like I would love to have met him in person. But he was actually walking through the botanical gardens here in Sydney, and he made a TikTok on this one tree. He's like, this tree loves humans. And you can see how it's overgrown on this path, and it's reaching down because there's like a barrier, but the tree grew over it, so it can be
Get
touched
some love.
by people walking past. Yeah, because they just touch it. And then he went and showed this section where someone carved, like X loves, Y into it. And he's like, this tree loves the fact that this was done to it. Because I always just think trees don't like it when you carve into them. Like, I don't know. It just, to me, it was always like a sad thing. But he explained like this particular tree, because it loves humans so much, and the people who did it were so in love that it took on that energy of, love for humans and humans loving each other, and expression of love so much that they wanted to put it permanently in the tree. And this tree, it just like, he's like, I love this tree so much because it loves me, sort of thing.
Oh,
and
I totally love it.
Yeah, like I wish that I could kind of experience that type of feeling, because I mean, for me, if I'm walking around, I see a tree and you want to touch it, it's like, oh, that's nice. But
you're like, that's cute.
Really, I don't feel that in my heart like the way I do.
Like when I was over at yours a few weeks ago and we're walking past, I'm like, oh, I just have to hug this tree. It's like, oh, touching it. And you're like, yeah.
I touch it too, but it's just like,
it's like, it does nothing for me. It's just, and that's the thing, right? The grounding, each of us are different frequencies. We're learning different stuff. We've got our own journey, the different things we're here for, and is special to us that we don't even realize until we have these conversations. I just think everyone can see and do these things, but
no, definitely
we're all very, very different. And it's awesome. Like, who knew we could do a whole thing on just grounding? I didn't think we'd be able to get this far, Kel. Far out.
Well, I knew it because I already knew like your way of tapping into everything is really different to me. So it's going to be a different experience for everybody. Like maybe people do a little bit of what you do incorporated with some stuff that I do. Maybe they go out in nature with their crystals, and that's how they ground. And
they find their way. Like even when I'm out and about, like when I've said before about asking for permission to take certain things from the land, I use and repurpose that stuff in art. And then it's like the earth is always in my paintings.
Yeah, like
you know what I mean?
That you paint with. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just the foundation. I don't know, foundation of the earth. It's just super important for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. I truly didn't know we'd have this much to say about grounding. But thank you, because I would not have thought to have this convo.
Yeah. And on that note, I should probably go do a grounding meditation, because I've been a bit all over the place lately.
I know, just talking about my trees, I'm just going to head outside and give it another good old hug.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right, pod people. We'll catch you on the flip side.
Thank you for listening.